In this video, I'm fixing up some dreadfully weathered rims. Before I bought this vehicle, it spent about 15 years sitting, so some parts about it are looking pretty sad. So in this video, I'm doing a fix to the rims. Now, just before I had purchased this, the previous owner that only had this car for a few months replaced the tires because they were completely shot. But he didn't do any repairs to the rims before putting on the new tires. Now, the correct way to go about doing this would be to powder coat the rims. But to powder coat the rims, it would have to have the tires off. And seeing that they were just put on, it seems a little contradictory to go back, take the tires off, powder coat the rims, and then put the tires back on. So for the time being, I'm just going to do a brush up on these rims a little bit and paint them instead of powder coat them, and maybe it'll be a job for another day. But in the meantime, we're trying to improve the look of them so they don't look like they've been sitting outside for the past 15 years. So in this video, I go about cleaning up these rims by sandblasting them. Then I apply a primer or a filler primer paint. I'm going to put a little bit of vinyl trim on here to make it really stand out. I'm using a small gravity-fed sandblaster. It holds about 20 ounces of grit, which lasts about 40 seconds. So if you're doing a larger job, this is definitely not the right tool. But for this job, I'll make do. It takes a very, very long time to do sandblasting. I think I did about 20 minutes per rim, which means that for the 4 rims, it took me about, well, an hour and a half. So you can see here, I'll be continually filling up the hopper. I bought 2 50-pound bags of sandblasting grit to do all 4 rims. After a while of sandblasting, I was getting a lot of grit that was collecting on the mat I was working on. And although it's not recommended that you reuse grit, I did reuse some here, kind of just because I had a whole bunch of extra grit left over. And after you use grit a few times, it breaks into smaller particles or it rounds off, so it doesn't work as good as it does originally. But I found from having done this several times that it's about 90% effective. Like, reusing grit is pretty much almost the same as using it once in this particular scenario. The only thing to watch out for is that you should filter what you're about to reuse again, because if you get any larger rocks in the grit, then it can jam the gun. These lug nuts look pretty bad. They have some surface rust coming through the chrome. But I have found that if you sandblast chrome, the rust will come off, but the chrome actually sticks around and actually shows pretty well. So, I'll accept your gratitude here for making sandblasting look fun and interesting, and so that you can watch it at 100 speed. I'm not sure why, but this rim has more pitting damage than the others. You can actually see and feel the pits here. So this rim I'm going to spend a little extra time on, and I'm going to apply some filler primer before I prime and paint. I'm being a good citizen here, and I masked off the tire because spray painted tires look ridiculous. I'm doing a little bit of work here on the rim with a hammer and a punch to knock out some of the dents. As the first tire dries with the flat black primer, I sanded the filler primer on the second tire that had the pits. And now I'm going to try to catch up by applying the primer to this rim as well. I finished the paint job with a glossy black paint. I got some 1/4-inch vinyl striping. This is sometimes used for pinstriping, sometimes used for paint masking, but in this case it's just a vinyl stripe, and it's actually pretty flexible. So I was able to apply it while curving it around the circumference of the wheel. That's just about it. This job took several hours, but only cost about $40, a majority of which was sandblasting grit. Good day.